and welcome to this Wednesday, May 15th, 1991 edition of EastCast. I'm Elaine Cruz, along with my co-anchor Eric Salzman and sports anchor Mike Furman. Last week, East observed Teachers Appreciation Week. Every teacher received a geranium plant and a sampler box of chocolates as thanks for the hard work that they did for the school. Thanks to the Home and School Association for providing these gifts. In their own way of saying thanks, some students painted signs expressing gratitude towards Cherry Hill East teachers. One student, Tracy Denton, made chocolate chip cookie cakes for the school's teachers in order to show her appreciation. Thanks to all who made teachers feel valued last week. Best Mean inductions took place last Wednesday, May 8th at 7 p.m. The inductees were recognized for their commitment to East's drama department and demonstrated their talents by performing for all those who attended the ceremony. The speakers for the evening were Mr. Robert D. Nation, head of the drama department, Ryan Madnick, the recipient of the Thespis Award, and Mr. Leonard Terranova, the assistant principal for the performing arts. This year's inductees were Shelby Adams, Courtney Ames, Eric Braverman, Kathy Compertor, Rebecca Freed, Alan Glazier, Deborah Gottlieb, Andrew Kaufman, Jason Lynch, Christina Puglisi, Todd Rappaport, Nora Rubel, Rachel Satinoff, and Chris Wilkins. Congratulations.
PAVIS, which stands for Performing and Visual Arts Society, will be holding its annual festival at Cherry Hill High School East this Friday, May 17th. The school's art, culture, and music will be on display periods 1 through 8 in the Courtyard's Little Theater and Auditorium. Performances in the auditorium will include Period 1, Jazz Ensemble and the School Band. Period 2, Choral Concert Excerpts. Period 3, Variety Show and Lip Sync Excerpts. Period 4, Orchestra and Small Ensemble. Period 6, Orchesis Dance Company. Period 7, Coal and Steel Classic Rock. And Period 8, rock bands who audition on Friday, May 10th. Performances in the Little Theater will include Period 1, Mime Company. Period 2, Jazz Guitar with Bob Canzanese. Period 3, One-Act Plays. Period 4, Improvisation Club. Period 5, Performances of Original Music by Student Composers. Period 6, More One-Act Plays. And Period 7, Highlights from Broadway Shows. Students can attend any of these performances by having their teachers sign up the class to go support the members of the PAVIS Society. The culminating activity of the day is this year's Faculty Follies Review in the auditorium at 8 p.m. Come see scenes from Grease, Guys and Dolls, Les Miserables, The Wizard of Oz, West Side Story, A Chorus Line, Bye Bye Birdie, and Cabaret performed by East faculty. So, even if you didn't watch the fall or spring productions, be sure to come and see our teachers strutting their stuff on stage. This is definitely something you don't want to miss. Here's just a quick view of what you can expect.
Drat! Somebody is always helping that girl. Well, I'm not through with you yet, my pretty. You may get to the wizard, but I'll have my way one way or the other. Those ruby slippers rightfully belong to me. And Kansas or no Kansas, I'll have them back.
That's One Ugly Witch. That's this Friday, 8 p.m. Tickets are available at the door for only $4. Proceeds benefit the Performing Arts Scholarship Fund. Spring is finally here. It's time for warm weather, colorful flowers, and our spring choral and orchestra concert. Stacy Caruso had the opportunity to talk with Mrs. Wilson, our school's vocal teacher, and Ronit Mitzner and Mindy Weiss, officers of Madrigal Singers, and Tiffany Van Meter of Bells of East and president of East Singers.
Mrs. Wilson, what groups are performing at tomorrow night's concert?
Tomorrow night's concert is our annual spring concert. We have all the choral ensembles performing, the East Singers, the Chanson, the Vocal Workshop, the Bells of East and the Madrigal Singers, and also our instrumental groups, the String Workshop and Orchestra. We have with us two of our officers of Madrigals and one of our co-officers of the Bells of East, and I'd like them to say a little bit about Madrigals and Bells.
Minty?
Well, the Madrigal Singers are an a cappella singing choir, and we sing music from the Renaissance, that is from the 1600s. We wear authentic costumes that we have made ourselves, and the music that we sing is something that we all come to love.
This year was especially exciting for us because usually we perform for community services and schools and the elderly, but this year we also got to perform at Longwood Gardens, and we just came back from a trip to South Carolina where we won the Superior Award. But this year we also performed at the Academy of Music, and we're very excited about this Thursday.
Tiffany, can you tell us a little bit about the bells?
Sure. The Bells of East is a unique ensemble that sings and plays bells simultaneously. This year we had the special honor to sing at the ceremony for Jeffrey Zahn that was held in Cherry Hill. We sang Let There Be Peace on Earth. Tomorrow evening, we'll be performing two pieces that we especially like. One will be arranged by our other co-officer, Susan Alexander, and the other is by Dan Fogelberg, entitled Longer. So we're excited.
That sounds nice. Well, thank you everyone for being with us. Don't miss tomorrow night's concert at 7:30. This has been Stacey Caruso for EastCast.
The concert is free, so come and join us 7:30 tomorrow evening. As we celebrate Performing Arts Month, gaze around the library. The Fine Arts Department chairperson, Mrs. Louise McDonald, offers East students more artistic perspective through a display of her Foundation Studies class. Her freshmen in college have completed a program of study of drawing, two-dimensional design, and three-dimensional design. Students and faculty can observe this exhibit in the library that explores the size and position of marks, lines, and shapes in relation to each other and to the format. The exhibition also includes the difference in perception, colors, and material, which vary from ink to wire. Elections for next year's class officers are coming up. They will be held next Wednesday, May 22nd. Students can vote in the cafeterias during periods 1 through 8. Running for next year's sophomore class officers are Jody Varon, Richard Spector, and Brian Friedman for Publicity Manager, Esther Son, Shari Mitzner, and Jen Dwyer for Secretary Treasurer, Lindsay Lichtman, Steve Montague, and Ben Newlander, and Ari Cohen for Vice President, Neil Ralosa, Ashley Baker, Adam Litwin, and Carolyn Marr for President. Running for next year's junior class officers are Nicole Weinberg, Beth Rudner, Adam Tarshish, and Jennifer Clear for Publicity Manager, Vinnie Malhotra, Rebecca Schlanger, Carrie Bunting, and Adam Shane for Secretary Treasurer, Sarah Braslow, Seth Shapiro, and Gail Horowitz for Vice President, Lisa Schusterman, Earl Walker, Craig Brody, and Mike Mansour for President. And running for next year's senior class officers are Laura Busey, Lexi Weinberg, and Dave Lean for Publicity Manager, Virginia Altamirano, Stacy Lichtman, and Sean Ravitz for Secretary Treasurer, Juan No, Brian Jander, and Howard Nekowitz for Vice President, Jen Marinucci, Tara Belafsky, Mark Grossman, and Seda Muniz for President. Good luck to all the candidates. Exercise your right. Vote for your class officers. Eric?
The senior prom will take place next Thursday, May 23rd, at the Mansion in Main Street from 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. Yesterday was the last day to buy tickets, which were sold in front of the auditorium for $90 a couple. This year's prom theme is Here and Now, and will definitely be a night to remember. And now over to roving sports anchor Mike Furman with the latest in spring competition.
Thanks, Eric. It was a sad and unsuccessful week in baseball as nationally ranked Cherry Hill West beat the Cougars for a second time this year, 7-2, dropping the team's record to 11-4. Then it was learned that head coach Dave Martin will most likely not return to that post next year due to the Cherry Hill budget cuts. Coach Martin has won over 300 games in his 18-year career at Cherry Hill East as head coach. The softball team continues to have a year to forget as they dropped 2 out of 3 games this week, lowering their already dismal record to 4-11. In lacrosse, the Lady Cougars defeated Delran 12-5 as Beth Graybill and Lisa Zazu had 5 goals each. The boys' tennis team continues to have an excellent season as they beat both Haddonfield and Moorestown Friends 5-0. They raised their impressive record to 15-0. The boys' track team got pounded by Overbrook this week, 91-40, but Dan Sturts took first place in the mile, and the relay team also took first place. And congratulations to Tanisha Smith of the girls' track team. She broke the 8-year-old Division II 100-meter dash record at the Camden County Track and Field Championships with a time of 11.9 seconds. She also came in first in the long jump, second in the 200-meter dash, and third in the javelin throw. Well, that about wraps up a busy week in sports, and now back to Eric.
Well, that's all for this May 15th edition of EastCast. Stay tuned for the Film Forum Encore with an interview with John Davidson, the producer of RoboCop, following the junior school news. For Elaine Cruz and Mike Furman, I'm Eric Salzman. Have a great evening. Tonight, we leave you with Ophelia. Who's decked out for the faculty follies? Good night, Ophelia.
Good evening and welcome to the West Report. I'm Dave Engel.
And I'm Jeff Gannon. Last Wednesday, May 8th, Cherry West held its annual National Honor Society induction ceremony. The ceremony consisted of the top 10% of this year's junior class being inducted along with an additional 5% of this year's senior class. The event started with some welcoming remarks from this year's NHS President Daniel Spurn. The principal, Richard Simon, talked to the audience and introduced the inductees as the physicists, doctors, lawyers, and corporate leaders of the future. The ceremony also included a candle-lighting ceremony where several of this year's NHS members lighted candles representing the 4 areas of leadership, character, service, and scholarship. And here's Brenda Koenig with Daniel Spurn, the winner selected to the United States physics team among 15,000 students.
Today we're speaking with senior Dan Spurn, who has recently received notice that he was selected from amongst the most outstanding physics students in the entire nation to be a member of the United States physics team. Thanks for joining us, Dan. This honor came after you competed in a nationwide preliminary selection test last November and a semifinal test in January. What were those tests like?
Okay, the preliminary exam consisted of 2 parts. One was a multiple choice test, and the other part was free response, in which they give you a question and you have to write out the answer. There are no choices, but you have to make all the answers yourself. Mm-hmm. So both parts were about an hour and a half each.
Wow, that's great.
And the semifinal exam was 2 parts, and there were no multiple choices. And one of the 2 parts had 2 problems and 2 hours to do it.
Wow. How many students at West took the test? Do you remember?
There were 3 other students, or 2 other students, and
yourself.
And myself, right.
So now, after you were selected, you received notice that you're going to be attending a study camp over the summer in the first week of June. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, it's at College Park in Maryland, at the University of Maryland, and it'll consist of several things, including problem-solving sessions with famous physicists, I think, and meeting some federal dignitaries like the president of the National Science Foundation and some other things, some other activities.
Wow, that sounds so exciting. And then this all culminates in you actually attending the 22nd International Olympiad. Now, that's going to be from June 30th to July 11th. Where will that be, and what will that involve?
Okay, that's going to be held in in Havana, Cuba.
Uh-huh.
And not all, there are 20 team members. Not
Right.
all of them are selected. Only 5 of them go to Havana. The 5 are chosen at the training camp.
Oh, so okay. So it's going to go from 20 to 5 for the actual team.
Right. In Havana, we'll be competing against 28 other countries.
Wow.
So
Okay.
it's international competition.
Okay. And so before you became involved in the Olympiad selection, you've been a member of West's physics team for how many years?
Second year.
Second year. And I heard the team is ranked this year.
Yeah, we're ranked 2nd in the state. We're tied for 2nd. And it basically consists of 4 tests. And you take the top 2 scores on the tests. The team is made up of 4 members. And it's a multiple choice test, about 50 minutes. And they basically rank, there are about 100 schools in the state who do it.
Wow, that's great. And is there any teacher who particularly assisted you in your work and becoming interested in physics?
Well, I have to say my physics teacher, Mr. Chatterjee, he really pushes hard and gives a lot of encouragement to do well.
Okay. And it's interesting to note that Dan is the 2nd West senior in as many years to be selected to be a member of the U.S. physics team. Last year's team member was Brian McAllister. Thanks for joining us again, Dan.
Thank you.
Saturday, May 11th, 39 Forge language students traveled to New York City to experience life at the Big Apple. Students paired off in groups and were given a map of Midtown, where they went shopping on Fifth Avenue, to the zoo in Central Park, and topped off with a backstage tour of Radio City Music Hall. Last, the students were taken to the South Street Seaport in Manhattan, where various magic acts were performed. It was a gorgeous day filled with numerous activities, and although my feet hurt, I had a wonderful time, commented sophomore Erica Collins.
The freshman class government sponsored a fundraising car wash last Saturday, May 11th from 9 to 1. Overall, the car wash was a big success as the freshman class, under the guidance of Supervisor Kristen Demeray, earned well over $200. The money collected will enter the government's account for the following 3 years. There will be another car wash sponsored by the freshmen next Saturday from 9 to 1. Also in freshman news, the class finally decided on its annual trip. On Saturday, June 1st, students will go to Great Adventure. Tickets are on sale in all lunch periods for $25. A meeting was held last week in order to inform everyone on the news. On Wednesday, May 8th, the freshman stars went to the Philadelphia Zoo. When the students arrived, they were asked to fill out a workbook packet composed of many detailed questions. This was to be a learning experience as well as an enjoyable one. And now here's Paul Audino with this week's sports.
For the first time this season, the Cherry Hill West varsity baseball team has taken over the #1 spot in the Philadelphia Inquirer top 10 baseball poll. West ended the week 15-1 overall after a 4-0 week by beating East 7-2, Pennsauken 8-4, Camden 12-2, and Eastern 15-6. In its last game against Eastern, Chris Kearns came over a shaky start to bring his record to 4-0. Chad Crevetti went 4 for 4, Nate Scully had a home run and 3 RBIs, and catcher Dan Farling went 4 for 5 with 3 RBIs. Ron Sahaki also added 2 triples. With those 4 victories, West remained on top of the Olympic American Division over East by 3.5 games. The girls softball team clobbered Pennsauken 8-1 last week to keep its winning record. Alicia Skoka struck out 6 batters on her way to grabbing the win, and Kim Coet added 2-run triple to secure the victory. The girls have already qualified for the Group 3 state championship and play Rancocas Valley, Cinnaminson, and Overbrook this week. The team will face Williamstown in the first round of the state tournament. The baseball team will be sponsoring a baseball card show to be held in the cafeteria this Saturday from 9 to 4. The admission is $2, and the show will feature a good assortment of dealers. The money collected from this admission will be put toward the varsity baseball team's trip to California next spring break to play in a tournament. And that's all for the sports.
Thank you for joining the West Report tonight. Please stay tuned for the junior school news and a special edition of Film Forum as Mr. Truitt interviews John Davison, producer of RoboCop and Airplane. Good night.
Good night.
Hi, welcome to Carusi News for May 15th, 1991. Since we didn't air last week, we have a lot to catch up on. To begin our program tonight, here's Sarah Henderson with a few words about Carusi's spring musical.
Last night, the Cherry Hill High School West Auditorium was the scene of some incredible music making by the members of the Carusi Music Department. The concert began with the sweet sounds of saxophone ensemble serenading the audience with Somewhere Out There from the balcony. The audience was then thrilled with the impressive sound of the 100-piece Mustang Band. The Carusi Orchestra followed with many excellent pieces, including Rhapsody in Blue by Gershwin and an extremely clever arrangement entitled Tango Avila. The jazz ensemble brought down the house with their version of Get It On, featuring many soloists. The wind ensemble ended the program with an unbelievable display of technique and musicality. One of their feature numbers, the symphonic Gershwin arrangement, was probably the best number ever played by our junior high wind ensemble. Congratulations to everyone who performed.
Thanks, Sarah. Now here is Miraj Mohudin with this week's Carusi Sport Report.
Thanks, Jane. On Monday at Voorhees, the Carusi track team overcame a great physical and emotional adversity with a clutch 120-94 victory. There were many great individual and team efforts, and the coaching staff is proud of all team members. As for 8th grade baseball, the team remains undefeated with 10 wins. Once again, Chris Matarese and Joe Gamaz combined to pitch a 2-hit 7-2 win over Pennsauken. Chris and Joe recorded 13 strikeouts and hit safely with the rest of the team. Carusi's 8th grade girls softball team had their record go to 5 wins and 5 losses as they lost an 8-7 decision to Pennsauken. A disastrous first inning gave Pennsauken a lead of 6-1. On Monday, in the best game of the season, Carusi's 7th grade girls softball team defeated Pennsauken by a score of 8-1. Melanie Rose pitched an excellent game, allowing only 6 hits and 1 walk. Both the offense and the defense played well. And now, here's Holly Krembeck with a special interview with Mr. Mancini, the coach of the 8th grade baseball team.
Thanks, Miraj. So, Mr. Mancini, how's the season going?
Very well. The team's currently undefeated with 10 wins, and they're in the middle of a winning streak that now has 30 consecutive.
Impressive. Any surprises?
Yes, the defense has been much better than we anticipated. The second team, we carried 20 players, are playing as well as the first team at this point.
So I guess this team compares very well with other teams.
Yes, last year's team was undefeated, and I expect this year's team should be also.
What games are left?
We have a game remaining with Beck today, and then Friday we are at Marlton. Next week will be the playoffs, and we've already clinched the home seat.
I understand you have a tape for us. Could you explain some highlights on it?
Okay, on that video, you're going to see from 2 games some of the highlights. One of our pitchers, Joe Gamaz, you'll see number 24 against Harrington. And then later on the tape, you're going to see our other number 1 pitcher, Chris Matarese, number 26. Also, you'll see some great defensive plays by Matt Halpin, number 8, and Anthony Succi, number 20. You'll also see Jason Fleury, number 22, who is on mark to set a record for stolen bases, the most stolen bases in a season at this level, which was set last year by Brad Napoli. You'll also see Jason Kurtz, an excellent third baseman, one of the best I've seen at this age level. You'll see Jason getting a key hit for us. He's number 14, and in addition, you'll see him making a fine defensive play. I'd also like to recognize the remaining members of the team. 2 excellent catchers. We have Todd Groves and Chris O'Brien. In the outfield, Darren Audino, Chris Staniak, Miraj Mohudin, Mike Monachetti, Len Rossetti, Matt Stoner, Richard Hahn, Aaron Pesnell, and Joe Walsh. Some additional infielders are Frank Salerno, Michael Thiel, and a pitcher this year for us that transferred into the building, Michael Widmeyer.
Thank you, Mr. Mancini. Back to you, Jane.
Thanks, Holly. Before we leave tonight, we'll briefly review our Carusi calendar. 8th grade yearbook sales took place last week, and this week they're being sold to 7th grade. On Tuesday, May 21st, the track championship meet will be held at West, followed by the track relay championship at Moorestown on Thursday, May 23rd. Good luck to everyone competing. Our 7th grade student council officer election will be held on Thursday, May 23rd, and on May 24th, the 7th grade will have a zoo assembly at 9:25. There is no school on Monday, May 27th for Memorial Day, so enjoy the long weekend. That just about wraps up Carusi News tonight. Here's an excerpt from Tuesday night's concert. See you next week.